And Grammy-winning singer Chris Brown is facing serious legal trouble overseas. A UK judge just ordered the 36-year-old to stay in British custody on a charge of causing grievous bodily harm. He's accused of attacking a music producer in a London nightclub. Let's bring in ABC's Lama Hassan in London for more. Lama, what's the latest on these charges against Chris Brown?
Yeah, hey, Diane. What we know is that Chris Brown was arrested in the early hours of Thursday morning at his hotel in Manchester in northern England. The Metropolitan Police released a statement late last night saying that after an investigation by detectives, they're charging him with, as you said, grievous bodily harm with intent. Now, this charge relates to an alleged assault that dates back to February 2023 after he allegedly attacked a music producer with a bottle at a nightclub in London. It was described as an unprovoked attack in which the producer was struck several times with a bottle. Brown then allegedly pursued him to another area of the nightclub where the victim was punched and kicked repeatedly. Now, in the hearing today, which lasted about 30 minutes, bail was denied, the judge saying that the offense is a serious one, and she reportedly deemed him a flight risk, even though his lawyer tried to argue that he's a public figure and he's followed by photographers. And so essentially his every move would be well documented. Now, in terms of what happens next, the judge ordered him to appear at Southwark Crown Court here in London on June 13th, which means that he remains in custody until then. And just a reminder, Diane, that Brown was meant to be kicking off his tour on June 8th.
Okay, so this is the latest concerning Chris Brown that is hitting the headlines currently right now. I want you guys to imagine this. Chris Brown attacks a man with a bottle, and they're charging him for grievous bodily harm. What are we talking about? We're talking about broken bones. We're talking about permanent disfiguration of maybe someone's face, loss of body functions, loss of sight, maybe facial scarring. I'm not saying all these things were involved, but when people talk about grievous bodily harm, this could fall into any one of these categories, right? Or major burns. Now, if you think of a bottle, not only did he strike him with the bottle once, you got to think, if you're striking someone with the bottle repeatedly, then there is a chance that that bottle might have broken. And he didn't end there. It says that he followed him to a different part of the nightclub later on and punched and kicked him multiple times continuously. Chris Brown is someone that I think is probably, if not the most talented male R&B artist of our generation. If anything, I think most people would say that there's no greater performer than Chris Brown. Now, he's been with my generation for as long as I can pretty much remember. But there's something about Chris Brown that I've noticed, and I think a lot of people have noticed over the ages. You know, you have certain celebrities who will not make certain decisions because they know that, hey, I can't move like this because I will have to sacrifice possibly getting sued, and they're worried about messing up the money. But Chris sort of has carried himself in a way where he hasn't experienced very serious consequences, especially when it comes to his moments of outbursts, anger, and where he loses control and gets violent. What I always find surprising about this situation is you have a lot of chicks who really stand up for Chris, right? And to me, this is when the selective outrage comes out. They'll look at someone like Diddy and be like, oh, if anything, and this is not me sticking up for Diddy, but I'm saying they'll look at that video of Diddy and Cassie and say, oh, he's a monster. How dare he? But the moment it's one of their favorite musicians, all of a sudden it's free Chris Brown, he's innocent, when we all kind of know he's capable of this and more. In fact, I think I've heard Chris Brown on multiple occasions talk about how he's the problem, right? He has had restraining orders and all types of stuff put on him. So are we really surprised by all this? I don't think many people are surprised. Let's check out a few of these comments, see what the people have to say. Top commenter says, and the crowd was unsurprised. There you go. Right there. Most people looking at this and they're not surprised by this news at all. Somebody else here added, it's always Grammy winning singer and never serial criminal. Somebody else here says, the Chris Brown hate is so real. And this is what I mean right here. At what point does this turn from, and I know people are surprised that I'm taking this conversation this direction. This has nothing to do with me trying to be in solidarity with another man. I see something I'm going to serve the coffee.
Drink the coffee, it'll make you feel better.
And in this situation, I am both not surprised, and I don't think Chris Brown will be coming back to the U.S. anytime soon. Somebody else here says, same way his assault cases are real too. Here's another person who says, I always wonder why people defend him. Somebody else here added, okay, why am I feeling British pride flowing into me? This is rare these days. Yeah, it seems like there's there's this sort of protection that probably a lot of US artists, musicians, and figures, public figures, typically have even when they go overseas and act out. That doesn't seem to be the case here in this particular situation. I mean, we don't know the state of this guy and what happened to him. This is the music producer. First name is Abe. He says the producer is seeking $16 million in damages from Chris Brown after nightclub assault. I don't blame him. Any person who gets hands put on by some celebrity would be trying to do the same thing. I honestly, I feel this way about a few different celebrities, that you see crash out a lot. Even though I sit here and I believe that Tory Lanez was in that situation, right, with Megan and the gun situation, probably innocent. I still acknowledge that there was a time when he was moving crazy. You had a time when the baby was moving crazy. A lot of these artists typically do a lot that if you're looking from the outside in, you can see like, man, this person will get humbled if they do not fix their life and change their decision making greatly.
Now, what's crazy is that the UK justice system is doing what the American justice system could never do: hold Chris Brown accountable without bail. Now, shout out to Say Cheese GGTL for the mugshot, because y'all really came through clutch. Now, they stated that Chris Brown had been arrested for smashing a tequila bottle over the head of a music producer in the UK in 2023. Now, for some strange reason, these tour tickets are still on sale, but we're going to get to those in a minute. Now, according to Sky News, it stated that the 26-year-old had been remanded in court until June 13th, so he was denied bail, which means that he's likely to miss his tour dates beginning in the UK. Now, Sky News goes on to report that he was accused of attacking a music producer by the name of Abraham Diwa, and I hope I'm saying his name correctly. Now, this occurred back in 2023 when Chris Brown had smashed a tequila bottle over his head. Now, according to prosecutors, they stated that Chris Brown had smashed the tequila bottle over his head as well as kicked and chased the music producer around a nightclub called Trap, and they have this on CCTV. Now, Chris Brown
got him on video. Yeah.
He still is in Manchester, because he begins his UK tour dates beginning in the Netherlands. But that's not going to happen. And if you bought tickets to see him in the UK, that's not happening either. And for the pick-me's in the comments, this is Chris Brown's own doing, because how you got all this money and all of this big, large team, and you don't got nobody checking to see if you got warrants out for your arrest in other countries.
Right.
Because it happened in 2023. I'm just going to assume that Chris Brown thought, I'm untouchable.
Right.
But federal prosecutors in Manchester had another thing coming. Now, if you
that's another thing I worry about too. I wonder, why didn't somebody on the team say, hey, this is probably not the best way to approach this situation? Surely somebody on his team could have known that UK isn't the place he should go to. I think he was just starting off his tour. Did he not think that he would be held accountable? If you did this, a regular dude, regular individual, you're not coming back. You're not coming back to the U.S. You're not.
If you do have tickets to go see Chris Brown in the UK, you're going to have to contact Ticketmaster to see if you can get your tickets back or see if they're going to get pushed to a later date. But according to Manchester prosecutors, he's not getting out of jail anytime soon. So if you do have tickets to go see him, good luck. And if you already saw him, well, that's great. And before you get on the internet attempting to defend this man, Chris Brown did this to himself. He also did it on CCTV. So there's no denying his level of abuse.
Yeah, I'm really not shocked at all. One thing I do know is, I know Chris Brown has opened up about being slightly bipolar, so probably a lot of like mental things going on there. But regardless, chasing people down with bottles, beating them up, acting like, you're in the States here, where he probably would have gotten away with it over here. I really do believe that. I don't think that would be the case in this particular situation. A few comments here. Top comment says UK really accepted his visa just to arrest him. Somebody else here added, I love this for him and his fans. Somebody else who says his eyes look empty. Another person who says, oh no, the consequences of his actions. Of course, maybe you disagree. Comment down below. I'm always curious to know what you guys think. To my currently engaged men, soon to be married men, or maybe you're proposing soon, remember, fathershaverights.com has the #1 guide to drafting a solid and legally binding prenuptial agreement. We help you if you need a prenup and don't know where to start. We guide you before you hire your attorney. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.